Welcome back to the final week of Bachelor in Space. This week, Team Otter will be handing out the final rose to one lucky contestant. Last time, the team voted off Ramp 2D2 for taking up too much space and repeatedly missing the mark. But first, let's recap the final competition. Team Otter is looking for a companion with a wide variety of skills. The perfect match must be able to protect Team Otter by removing Darth Uga, retrieving the fleet, launching torpedoes at the Death Star, and raising the Millennium Golf Ball. Now let's take a look at the remaining contestants. C-3PO, Luke Skywalker, Chewbacca, Boba Fett, and Jabba the Hutt.
First up is C-3PO, which has nets to retrieve the Rebel fleet, a threaded rod to launch the Millennium Golf Ball into warp drive, a rack and pinion to deter the Empire's Darth Uga, and a linear bearing to fire torpedoes at the Death Star and defeat the Empire once and for all. Taking a look at what C-3PO has to offer, the threaded rod occupies minimal space, allowing room for the other components. Although it has its charms, it also has several noticeable flaws. The nets can easily tangle and have a small range for collecting the fleet. They also may hinder the performance of other mechanisms. The rack and pinion take up too much volume in the machine, which could have been used in a more efficient manner. The second contestant, Luke Skywalker, retrieves the Rebel fleet using a sweeping scoop mechanism, launches the Millennium Golf Ball with the threaded rod, fires torpedoes using a linear bearing, and finally expels Darth Uga in his TIE fighter using scissor arms hidden between the base and central platform. Luke is looking pretty good considering that all of its mechanisms fit in the required dimensions. All of the subsystems provide accurate and consistent forces. Although the threaded rod presents a complex design, it will allow Team Otter to show off some of its ingenuity. The main issue with Luke is that it does not optimize the given space. Next up is Chewbacca. Chewie comes complete with a sweeping scoop mechanism to return the fleet to the base sector, a threaded rod apparatus to launch the Millennium Golf Ball, a linear bearing to attack the Death Star with the team's torpedoes, and a ramp with a guide to defeat Darth Uga. Chewie starts out great with a threaded rod, linear bearing, and sweeping scoop mechanism, which we know to be top choices. However, the ramp design takes up far too much space and only has the capability to protect Team Otter from one TIE fighter. The fourth remaining contestant is Boba Fett. Boba traps the fleet with nets to safely return them to the base sector and uses the double platform design with scissor arms to defeat Darth Uga. However, it raises the Millennium Golf Ball with a hinged arm and shoots torpedoes at the Death Star using linear bearings. As previously stated, the nets don't take up too much space, but hinder the motion of other subsystems. The extendable scissor arms are compact and consistent. Finally, Jabba the Hutt presents a more unique combination of features. Jabba raises the Millennium Golf Ball using a hinged arm, destroys a TIE fighter using a ramp with a guide feature, returns the Rebel fleet using a sweeping scoop mechanism, and fires torpedoes at the Death Star using a linear bearing. The ramp in this design can only target one TIE fighter and takes up a massive amount of space, limiting the range of motion of other mechanisms. The sweeping scoop mechanism secures the fleet well for its return to the base sector. Although Jabba the Hutt is the crowd favorite according to intergalactic Twitter polls, let's see what Team Otter thinks about our final contestants.
As seen in the evaluation matrix, Team Otter highly values the proper dimensioning of the machine's runtime, and the machine's reliability. The team weighs most of these qualities with 8s and 9s out of 10. The higher weights for these categories allow the most important qualities of the design machine to be the deciding factors for the final design selection. In the evaluation matrix, Luke Skywalker, Chewbacca, and Jabba the Hutt have the highest values for the geometry, reliability, and runtime sections. Unlike the other three contestants, C-3PO and Boba Fett performed awfully in these sections and therefore will not be receiving a rose. In order to further decide between the contestants, the three machines were evaluated based on their ability to perform consistently. Out of the three contestants, Jabba the Hutt has the lowest value of consistency and therefore will also not be receiving the final rose.
Based on the evaluation matrix, it is no surprise that it came down to these last two contestants, Luke Skywalker and Chewbacca. These two fine machines have many of the same outstanding qualities that make for supreme contenders in the final competition, but one has always stood out to Team Otter. This machine combines the best qualities offered by any of the contestants. The final rose is awarded to Luke Skywalker. It is no surprise that Luke has stolen this competition and the hearts of Team Otter. It launches the Millennium Golf Ball the highest, the torpedo launcher requires the least amount of effort to set up before the competition, and the scissor arm is the most reliable to defeat Darth Uga. Plus, the sleek and simple design is just what Team Otter is looking for.